Well, hello students. Yesterday in this palmistry modules, we were covering the flexibility of the hand. We saw how hands can be straight hands, very flexible hand, or extremely flexible hands, and stiff hand. We also learned about the different types of skin that we can encounter during a palm reading. And today we're gonna talk about consistency of the palm and how to determine consistency. So the consistency of the hand is an accurate indicator of a person's vitality and energy. So the consistency is determined by the feeling of hardness or softness when we apply pressure, and when pressure is applied, of course, to the palm of the hand. So when judging consistency, we want to notice whether the hand bounces back quickly to its original shape, or if it stays collapsed from the slight pressure it has received. The bounce in the hand is associated with the bounce in the person's energy. As a measure of energy, consistency is one of the most important aspects of the hand. No matter what other indications are found, no matter how beautiful the development of certain mounds, no matter how rare a sign is found in the palm, and we will learn some of the signs later on, the consistency of the hand can make or break the potential of these qualities. So consistency, just remember, consistency equals energy. By determining the consistency, you're asking these questions for yourself when you're in a palm reading with your client. Does this person has a strong energy? Can she follow through with her intentions and accomplish a task? You can also see this in some lines, as we will follow later on the example. I'm going to give you some homework, and in which you're going to be looking at your palm, finding the lines, and also finding some symbols like triangles, squares, and different tiny lines, stars, and other symbols to see how these relate to the major lines. You're also going to find out things about the lines, in which if the line is deeper, like we talked yesterday, it means that you won't have as many challenges as if the line is very thin on your palm. So, believe it or not, consistency can tell you if this is a person that's lazy. If the consistency of the hand is not affected by a passing illness or feeling exhausted for a short period of time, then, it's going to require a lot of huge changes in conditions, either mental or physical, for the consistency to change. So without energy, even the finest gifts will not manifest. So of course, we haven't talked about this yet, but when you're reading a palm of somebody, you want to ask also some questions. If you see discoloration, we're going to talk about the different colors later on the palm. Do they have arthritis? Are they diabetic? There are certain conditions, of course, but what we're talking here is, we're talking about all the things that you will see in the palm when you have discounted already some of the physical illnesses or physical symptoms. So how do we determine consistency? There are two basic ways to determine consistency. One is by squeezing the palm and pressing the mounds, and the other is by taking a quick estimate when shaking hands. I mean, that's easy, right? Shaking hands with somebody. Please don't use more pressure than is necessary. You're not trying to crush anybody's hands. The pressure should be moderate. So make sure that you never cause your subject pain or discomfort. Remember when you have experienced a handshake that felt like a vice, right? So squeezing the palm is the best way to determine overall consistency. So you can wrap your hand around the other person's palm as if you were shaking hands. Then you just squeeze gently. You make full contact between your palms and let your fingers curl around the edge of the hand while you simultaneously use your thumb to gently squeeze from the other side. You are feeling to see if the hand is elastic or it doesn't have any elasticity pretty much. When you press the hand from the side to side, you can easily discern whether the hand has a spring to it, collapses under pressure, or is so hard that there is little or no give at all. Estimate the amount of bounce and spring in the palm. If the hand has bounce when you squeeze it, it has a healthy consistency. As it is in learning many things, practice makes perfect. If you take a sampling by pressing 20 to 30 palms, then you will encounter a wide variety in the resilience of those hands. So, we learn by doing. So there's no other way to be learning about palmistry than just by, asking friends and family to help you learn about different consistencies in the palm. Now, pressing the mounds, which is the second way, also allows you to get a more nuanced sense of the palm's consistency. While you can determine the overall consistency of the palm by squeezing side to side, the elasticity of the mounds can vary. Some parts of the hand can feel soft, while another part of the same palm can have an amazing bounce. To determine the consistency of each of the mounds, you begin by supporting the person's palm in one of your hands and using your index finger or thumb to press on the individual mounds. The mound with the most elasticity has the most vitality. This is an important information and determine which mound is dominant. For example, a hand may be generally soft, just one mound may be more resilient. This mound is special. The characteristics of the most elastic mound have the strongest, most energetic expression in the personality. Conversely, the hand may be generally elastic and bouncy, but one mound may feel soft or even flabby. The flabbiest mound will show where there is a deficient energy. The person will need to support in the areas of light ruled by this mound. Don't worry, I know that you want me to do a demonstration. We're going to do that in the exercises. Now, shaking hands, like we said, is an informal way of determining consistency. Every time you meet someone, you have an opportunity to determine something about his or her energy. In all likelihood, you have been doing this already most of your life. We always form impressions from a handshake. You can think back to a time when you have shaken a hand that felt like a limp fish. There was no energy there, right? There was no energy return when you offered your own hand. Right away, you knew that there's no enthusiasm coming from the other person. This limp or dead fish handshake can have a number of meanings. The person may have very little physical energy, or he might be chronically depressed. Another consideration is that the person may not have enthusiasm for meeting you. Now, remember the time when someone gripped your hand so tightly that it caused you pain, perhaps pumping your hand vigorously at the same time? You may have made an instant assessment that there was too much energy in this person, too much energy coming at you. So extricating your hand from such a grip was an event. It really was, right? Now, you can become conscious of your impressions when shaking hands. You're determining the general consistency of the palm and taking a read on the person's overall energy level. When shaking hands, you have to allow yourself to give only the slightest squeeze, no more than 1 or 2 seconds, just to barely notice. This manner of determining energy is somehow very repeatable. However, we're constantly gathering information about people from our interactions with them, including handshakes. So don't feel that this manner of gaining information is sneaky or improper in any way. Alright, so now we're going to cover the 4 categories of consistency. And as you can see here, I have, ta-da, yellow, right? So why do I have yellow? Well, yellow is going to represent the flabby hand. So flabby consistency or the flabby hand is an extreme condition that you will not encounter very frequently. Thank goodness, because this consistency overshadows the entire assessment of a person's character. It is amazing how flabby some hands can be. A flabby hand actually collapses under pressure and gives the impression that instead of bones and muscles under the skin, there is yellow. When you squeeze this palm, it makes you imagine that the contents of the hand will ooze out between your fingers. This is a version of the dead fish handshake. When you shake hands with this person and the other person doesn't, for example. It will come as to no surprise that this consistency represents the least amount of physical energy. Sometimes these people are just plain lazy. They are talkers instead of doers. On occasion, you may also encounter this consistency in the hands of people who are chronically ill or chronically depressed. Flabbiness does not equal stupidity, so please don't think that. So, a person with a flabby consistency may be quite gifted or intelligent. However, there will be no physical energy to put into the development of their talents. Usually, people with flabby hands are dreamers who would rather live in poverty than do the work to advance themselves. They want everything to come their way without effort. In fact, they would really like to be catered to. These people generally feel sorry for themselves if life does not go their way. Unless the flabby consistency is caused by severe illness, people with flabby hands cannot improve their energy. If the person is ill, then there's always the possibility of a recovery, and that surely will be reflected in the consistency of the hand. But for the great majority of flabby-handed people, wherever life has placed them is where they will remain. That is, unless they can get someone else to take care of them. This is not out of the question because the person with flabby consistency could possibly be quite clever or charming. In general, a flabby consistency will reduce the power and vitality of all qualities found in the hand. So never promise success to a flabby-handed person. Alright, so now let's go to the soft hand. Now soft hands are quite common. They're also deficient in energy, although not nearly as lacking as in people with flabby hands. As with a flabby hand, there will be little resistance when you apply pressure to or shake a soft hand. However, there is an important difference here. Although soft hands yield easily under pressure, they will not collapse completely and feel boneless. They feel malleable, like a child's much-loved stuffed toy. There are many degrees of soft hands. Some will feel just a little more firm than flabby, while others will feel almost but not quite elastic. They don't have the bounce and resilience of the elastic hands, but we know that there is some substance there. Only your experience and your perception can guide you in determining the difference between flabby and soft hands. We encourage you to examine as many hands as possible, and remember, the more bounce in the hand, the more energy the person will have. Emotionality is one of the prime characteristics of soft hands. These people have a sentimental, receptive, sensual, and emotional approach to life. And this has an effect on the energy level because strong emotions can deplete vitality. Now, the most important difference between soft and flabby hands is that with soft hands, a person's energy can be increased. People with flabby hands have no interest in increasing their energy, while people with soft hands can increase their energy if they're motivated to do so. While people with soft hands will usually take the easy way out, under the right conditions, they can accomplish goals, and they can work if they have to. Alright, so let's go to the next one. The next one is the elastic hand. Elastic is the ideal hand consistency in terms of energy. A person with an elastic hand puts vitality into all their efforts. Such a person is full of life and vigor. Sometimes the energy that goes with elastic consistency is referred to as intelligent or intellectual energy. This person is capable of directing his energy with thought and purpose. An elastic hand springs back under pressure. It is a pleasure to shake this person's hand. C meets your grip with equal pressure. When you press this hand, you will notice resiliency and bounce, a vital and alive response. When you put pressure on an amount of an elastic hand, it instantly bounces back to its original shape. People with elastic consistency enjoy being active. They're capable of doing both mental work and physical labor. They have the capacity to assume responsibility and the ability to work very hard, and hopefully they will not overwork. These people love to be on the go. Normally we will call these people type A. Elastic consistency can bring out the best of the dominant archetype in the palm. When we see talents and abilities indicated in the palm, there is a very good chance they will come to fruition. An elastic hand represents an elastic and flexible mind. These people are open to new ideas and they're adaptable. They're very rarely threatened by new situations. They're responsive, active, energetic, and they love to move for pleasure. So this type of person is not the type of person that will sit still for long periods of time. It's very difficult for them. This consistency is easy to identify. Simply look around you for people you already know who are bright, successful, energetic, and on the go. Press their palms and feel the bounce. Once you have become familiar with elastic hands, you can use them as your standard of measurement. And finally, we have the hard hand. Hard consistency does not yield under pressure at all. The hand is hard and stiff, and it feels as if you're pressing a piece of wood or stone. There is absolutely no resilience. Be careful when shaking this person's hand, as he or she may unknowingly cause you pain. People with hard consistency are very active and have the highest degree of physical energy. They're filled with stamina and endurance, and this consistency is excellent for physical activities and manual labor. All of this person's energy goes into the body. This poses a problem for the brain, and generally you will find hard consistency on people with more brawn than brain. When the body gets all the energy, the brain can atrophy. When the hand is hard, the brain is hard and the mind is inflexible. This individual does not adapt to new situations, very easy, or you may say that he's not receptive to new ideas. It is the inflexibility of attitude that is a defining characteristic for people with hard hands. When finding a hand with hard consistency, it's very important to know the skin texture. A hard hand is often combined with coarse skin. This indicates that the person lacks sympathy, is less intelligent, and is hard-hearted. He will trample over anything in his path. Occasionally, you might find hard consistency combined with fine skin, like we talked about in the last module of Muhammad Ali hand reading. But this kind of elevates the type and softens the heart. But this is not very common. When this happens, it does not affect the immense physical vitality.